morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to video message number 29.
It's Bob here. I got a question.
I would never do something like that. First of all, I have a girlfriend who I love very much.
Her name is?
Michelle.
Michelle. What she look like?
She's super tall.
I woke up yesterday morning with a spring in my step.
Start later, please.
I could never know if the day was fast forward it.
Listen up, the ratings just came in for last month. We are #1. We just grabbed every key demographic. Super duper. That's nice. Way to go. Neato, gang.
Yes.
Boy, that is good news.
What a mess.
Finish line is waiting. Fate is on your side. You hear the distant thunder. There's lightning in your stride. For the warriors.
Gaze at a graveyard.
Never gonna believe. To take it to the top.
Louis Lambert has never seen the Vikings win the NFC North.
He's never seen the Vikings win the NFC North, and he's never seen his mom and grandma's Packers win a game either.
That part you probably like.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Congrats, Dad.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it weird yet?
Yeah.
7 or 8 days in to hear the
Yeah.
word Dad?
Yeah, he's a week. He'll be a week old today. It is kind of weird, but it's. I can't. You've been through it. I can't explain how a week ago today we were like in the preparation of like this all starting, and my wife getting all set for it, and it was unbelievable to watch. I can't believe how good of a job she did and how good of a job she continues to do.
Did Rosie watch? Was he there?
No,
What a mess.
No, but we were worried that Rosie might show up. He did not. I think it was at the same place that Carly gave birth.
Which is weird. He's way closer to your family than Carly's.
I'm shocked
I wonder why he showed up for Carly's but not yours.
I don't know. It's very weird. He did not show up, though. No, he did not. So, yeah.
Surreal, right?
It's surreal.
Yeah.
Especially, like, when we were in, not we, she, because I just stood there, but right, like, the final push, and then he shows up, and I'm like, oh, my God.
It's go time.
You can't, like, I can't explain how surreal that is. Like, I turned and I saw his little foot as the doctor had him, like, where they were cleaning him off, and it was...
Got small feet?
No, his huge hands.
Oh, does he really?
Huge. I can't believe how big of hands he has, because I don't have them. I have tiny little hands. But it's surreal when you're standing there like, oh, my God, we've been talking about you for 9 months, and there you are. He's incredible. My mother-in-law, who's still staying with us, was kind enough last night to stay upstairs with my wife and kids so I could go downstairs and sleep after that Vikings debacle. Mm-hmm. But it has been the greatest week of my life. My wife has done an outstanding job. My mother-in-law has been wonderful. My parents, when they were here, were wonderful. It's just, I can't explain the euphoria I have felt for 7 days. And then I come home and I'm like, oh, there he is. It's sweet. I'm glad I can be back at work, but I looked at him for like 5 minutes before I left, and there he was just laying there sleeping. It's unbelievably cool.
What's it like to see just a giant pile of crap?
Oh, my God. Or...
I was talking about the Vikings game.
Oh, yeah. That was really bad. Or yesterday when my son he pooped and then he just wouldn't stop pooping. So
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He pooped the other day, and it was so large, and I thought it was a human. I didn't know he started drinking beer and beer cheese soup. It was the most poop I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like that scene from Parks and Rec where Rob Lowe looks right into the mirror and says, "Stop pooping."
Correct. That's exactly
Please.
what it was.
Yeah.
But
he's going to do that now for the rest of his life.
Well,
just pooping, like daily almost sometimes. Unless you're Jess Verasper.
Yesterday, my wife's holding him as we're watching the beginning of the game, and she looks down and she goes, he peed on me. He did. He just peed everywhere. But, he's great. He's wonderful. My wife's been amazing. It's the coolest thing I've ever been a part of in my life, and I can't wait to go home and see him again.
How many, approximately how many diapers have you changed in the first week? What would you guess? And are you good at it?
I'm okay at it. It's the thing that we learned. I would in the 20s. I would guess.
Yeah.
I would guess that the one thing you have to do, because he's got the umbilical cord thing still like barely hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
But as I learned with babies, you can't like pick at things on. Just leave it. You just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to fold the diaper down. But yeah, he's great. He just doesn't like to be cold. Other than that, like. Yesterday, I was talking to Tenna, and Tenna asked me down the line when I was doing my pregame bit, and Tenna said, "How's he doing?" And I'll find out in a few minutes. And my wife texts me whenever they get up. He has this weird thing where, like, he has this weird witching hour, but then he'll sleep for like 6 straight hours at night.
That's a pretty good start for a 7-day-old baby.
Yeah, right. And that was
take 6 hours.
Yeah, he slept for I think it was Thursday into Friday. He slept from like 2 a.m. to like 8:30.
That's a dream.
Incredible.
Yep.
Now it's the in between of like, but yeah, it's worth it. It's worth every bit of it is awesome. I love every second of it.
Did he sleep from 7:10 to about 10:10?
I can't believe how bad that was. That's just the worst. I mean, I think we have our Sam Darnold answer. Yeah, that was hideously bad.
Obviously, look, let's be
right,
serious
though.
for a second. About what?
People were saying that you thought that they'd steamroll us.
No, I just thought we would lose. I didn't think we would get steamrolled.
We got steamrolled.
If anybody on Twitter claimed that I thought we were going to get steamrolled, that's not the case. I think
it was North Face Dave. He must be high.
I thought we would lose, but my take was I don't think it's the end of the world. Now, getting trucked like we did changes that a little bit. I thought we would be competitive, but just come up short because they have a ton to play for. They're the home team. They're probably the slightly better team. Last night they looked way better. I don't know. My optimism faded a little bit after getting smoked last night. Here's, like the thing with Darnold now. If you're a team, let's say you're one of the 5 or 6 teams floating out there that's already out, that's like, we need a quarterback next year. And you and your GM and your scouts, you guys start talking about strategy for the offseason. You're like, why don't we throw 40 or 50 million at Sammy D? Let's say the room's split, right? If the room is split, if a couple people are like, I think Darnold can turn this thing around, he's legit. If there's 1 or 2 that are like, I just think it's the system and it's KOC and it's a nice year, but I don't want to pay him for the next 4 or 5. This is the tape they're going to look at and go, I'm telling you guys. So I think Darnold is legit. I don't think this is a fluke. We've seen him here in Minnesota do it all season long. But if you're anti-Darnold and you think this is not sustainable, then that's the film you watch. Have you guys seen the replay of the non-throw to Addison?
Yeah, he's wide open.
And what everybody is saying on social, and it's totally true, that play was clearly designed for Addison, right? As like a pick play. This is early third?
Yep.
I think it was 10-6 Lions. Vikings have a shot to take the lead in a touchdown. And they do like a one of those organic pick plays. And Addison is wide open. Darnold is looking right at him, and he doesn't throw it.
He can't let it. He can't cut it loose.
He couldn't cut it loose.
Yeah, correct.
And oh man, there's a lot of tape last night that is going to scare some people off. Now the comeback is the rest of the year shouldn't scare almost anybody off.
No.
He's only had like 1 or 2 stinkers. The Jacksonville game, right? He forced it to JJ, and he looked awful almost the entire game. We got lucky to get out of there with a win. His stinkers are what? Maybe 3 games at the most out of 17.
Jacksonville was bad.
But
this
only
one
a
was
couple.
bad.
Right?
It's not a ton.
He had a 100+ passer rating in 12 or 13?
No, I think it was 13. Yeah,
12 or 13 games,
matter, which I think was some kind of record or something.
Vikings record.
Yeah, I think the thing we saw last night was
bad.
It was exactly somebody and Aaron Glenn. That defense isn't that good. They just found some kind of rhythm. They're going to still give up 40 points in the playoffs, but as long as Detroit can beat Kansas City, I don't care. I don't mind getting whooped by Detroit. Detroit's a fine organization. I kind of like Dan Campbell. I like the whole bit. Right, good for those fans that have been just as long as suffering as us Vikings fans. But when you can't compete. and you go down in the red zone where that game should have been way closer than it was, and the Sam Darnold of the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers creeps back in, where you're seeing ghosts and you're hearing footsteps. That's not how you win football games. Now, it's a quick turnaround, and I think that's what Lieber will say here in an hour when he shows up. But you got to now go on the road, go to L.A., which, for a small part, is not the worst place to go. I know they lost, but that was on a short week after they got beat up by the Lions, which they just did. But throw all that aside. The Rams are just okay. The Rams needed an interception in the end zone to beat the awful Cardinals. This isn't the Rams of the 90s, right? This is just an okay football team. Plus, a lot of Vikings fans are going to show up in L.A. because nobody cares about football in L.A. The Vikings have a chance. They're a 2.5-point favorite.
At least it's the full week, though, right? Like a week or so ago, Lieber was saying you could theoretically lose to the Lions and then go on the road 6 days later as early as Saturday, right? The Vikes don't play until next Monday night.
Which, without a New York...
full week.
I mean, Buffalo's in New York, but, without the Giants or the Jets, you got to put the second biggest market on Monday Night Football. So, yeah. Last night sucked. It was terrible. It was hideous.
What are you, Jordan Addison's dad?
But, it could have been way worse. I don't know how it could have been way worse, but, at least we're in the playoffs. We'll move forward. At least we'll see what we can do. But it was not good last night. Now, if it is over and Sam has the same thing, then we have our answer. Then we don't have to spend all off season going, man, what do we do about Sam? What do we do about Sam? But I think they can bounce back, and this means a lot to KOC.
That's going to be the most interesting thing about next Monday night. I really think and hope it's a one-game fluke where Sam just did not have it, right? He was terrible in the red zone, just didn't pull the trigger. When he did, it was way off or sailed him high on Justin Jefferson, especially in the red zone. My God, those goal line shots were just hideous. I think it's a one-game massive regression. However, if he plays anything like this next Monday night and the Vikes lose, the public vibe, a week or two ago was, let's give him $1 billion and trade J.J. McCarthy, and this is the guy, and he's in his prime, and a lot of those people had a lot to stand on.
Yeah.
If he goes just stinker into a stinker and they're out in round one, watch how quickly the vibe changes back to, oh, God, we can't give him $50 million a year. No. Let's go back to JJ. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to be competitive. Even if we lose to LA, I just don't think he can be that bad again. And I don't think the Vikings as a team can be that bad again.
No. I think what happened was we saw a defense that gave all they had, and then they kind of fell apart. The offense was just kind of outclassed because of I know like two guys on the Detroit defense that just beat them up, but to not score an offensive touchdown, to do what you did in the red zone.
So many opportunities.
But this isn't like, week 6. You have to find a way to quickly move past this in a week from today, roll into LA and hopefully win a road playoff game. Inside, you couldn't, going to Tampa would have been tough because I think that team could score a lot, and it's hot down in Tampa. In a controlled environment in L.A., I don't know why I'm optimistic, but I think they can win.
The Vikings have only lost to two teams all year long, the Lions and the Rams.
Right, yeah.
And they lost to the Lions last night, and they play the Rams on Monday night.
Yeah, and the Rams are 10-7. They're 5-4 at home. Whatever. Happy birthday, Zacho.
Hey, it's J6.
Yeah.
Great to be here. Great day. Love this day.
Man. Sauce, did you see Zacho's cake?
Yeah, it was sweet.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that was cool.
Joe brought in a cake last Friday.
Was that the character on your cake doing exactly what you do in that bathtub?
No, his hands were just on the side of the bathtub.
Yeah, well, that's because he had reached climax.
And he did have clothes on.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't believe Zach in his Vegas hotel room bathtub is fully clothed.
No. I don't think his hands are on the side of the tub.
And he loves Diet Cokes, but I don't think there's 15 Diet Cokes around the bathtub.
Actually, that one I would believe.
Yeah.
That one's more real.
Maxo.
Yeah.
Hey. There's Max, there's Zach, there's Louie's dad.
Hi.
It's the Power Trip Morning Show. Hawk was a late scratch because he's sicker than hell.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, but I believe Lieber and Muscle still be in.
Lieber's here in the building.
Already?
He's sleeping.
What?
Oh, he's sleeping here?
Yeah.
Why?
Jeez, that's dedication.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go home and get a couple hours of actual sleep?
I don't think they got in till like late. Weren't they on the tarmac for like 4 hours or something?
I had no idea.
Tweeted.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Oh, something else went wrong in Detroit?
Right.
Jeez. Yeah, that was a tough watch. Will Reichert just shanking it right before halftime was tough to watch. Him missing the field goal was tough to watch. Everybody complaining on Twitter. If we would have kicked all the field goals, we'd be up by 100 right now. Oh, my God. How'd that work out?
Right.
Sure you wanted to kick field goals? They scored like crazy. You got to keep up, even if they were temporarily not putting up points. They're the Lions. Sure you wanted all those field goals in the first half? Right. What good would that have done? The Power Trip Morning Show returns after this on The Fan.
The Fan.
All right, Corey Cove. Paul Lambert, meets us over there, is back from short paternity leave. Zach Halverson's 30th birthday today. Max Fuller's over there.
Hey.
Max is already way over 30. He's like 52 or something.
Well, and
I forget the exact number.
Speaking of way over, it's over for your Wolves, Maxo.
It's so over,
it's
dog.
Hideous. It's just hideous.
It's really bad. It's
right after it looked like it was back.
Right.
I know.
They had a week where it's like, oh, never mind, they got it. And now it's straight back to they're losing to everybody.
And I think that's just how this season is going to go. It's just going to be up and down, and they're going to be a perpetual play-in team. It appears as though that the Cat trade set this Wolves franchise back for several years to come now.
Yep, unless they can pivot here somehow, but
it'd be a hell of a pivot.
Right, I don't know who'd want any of the trash they have except for Ant.
Yeah, and essentially at this point, I would imagine that everybody can be bought or had except for Ant at this point because it's not going good for anybody. He had 53 of their 90-something points the other night. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And Chris was there.
Yeah,
that's so random.
I know he's not here today and we can't talk to him. Why?
I don't know.
What dragged him to that?
What made him go to a Pistons
game?
He
joked about it, Thursday or Friday? Yeah, maybe I'll go to the Wolves-Pistons game. We're like, dear God, nice try.
Yeah,
and then
why?
He was there.
He
I have
left
no
the
idea.
Hardest at his own joke.
Exactly.
Right.
No idea how a PA or anybody from the Vikings convinced him to go to a Wolves-Pistons game.
You know what? He did probably. You know what happened? He probably got asked. That's
face to face.
Yep,
correct.
Person,
and he couldn't say no.
Couldn't say no.
The other tickets were probably free, so he didn't have that hurdle.
Finchie probably got him for him. And I would bet the other place he wanted to go was just too far away, if you know what I mean.
To wave to see how people were gambling?
Yep. And I really think he's trying. Yeah. When I saw that, I thought it was a bit. I thought but if he'd gone in a group setting, like let's say it was PA, Sam Newton, a couple other people, and Hawk would have pulled a Hawk in about the first quarter. They stayed for like the whole thing.
No.
Yeah, most of it, yeah.
Oh, that must have been hell.
Yeah, why would he go to a basketball game?
Well, I mean, it's Little Caesars Arena is right downtown.
Is it like super close to, you assume, where they stay?
No.
Really?
No, because it's right down the road. It's like right next to Ford Field and Comerica Park. So
I just can't imagine going. Vacation's a light term because he's working, but it's a mini vacation, right? Yeah. You get a day or so by yourself to do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you get exactly. And then with a late game, you get a little more than that. Maybe you get 24 hours, right? With a Sunday night game, you got a day in Detroit to do whatever you want. If I was Chris and I was traveling with the Minnesota Vikings and I had these little mini windows to do whatever I want, I wouldn't do the thing that I hated the most.
Right.
Right. Hey, Corey, you going to the Vikings-Rams game? Yeah, but I think I'm going to go see Morgan Wallen for a couple hours first.
Right.
What?
Yeah, why?
No, I'm not going to see country music.
Right.
It sucks.
No.
Right? That's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, but you have the ability, and my God, you are a pro at saying no.
Thank you.
You are.
I mean, you are
a skill.
High level, long time.
You just don't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah, see, and that is the right attitude. You don't want to do it, just say no.
Yeah, especially the older you get, man.
Right.
Time is the most valuable thing I have.
I'm shocked when something like Hey, Hawk, you want to go to the game? Excuse me? No. I'm going to masturbate in my room and then take a nap, right? Like, of all things. And then there he was. And he was brilliant on social media about it.
I can't wait to find out, though, if there was another wrinkle. Like, hey, you want to go get, a world-class dinner and then walk over to the Wolves game for a little? Like, was it combined with something else?
Well, but
did they Hansel and Gretel his ass to a Pistons game?
Did they tell him Finch got us the tickets so they're right behind the Wolves bench, which is a neat experience, but not for him.
Right.
What's he care?
Was it like, hey, if you come to the Pistons Wolves game, you can have intercourse with the cheerleaders? Like, what did it take to get him there?
Right.
Because that obviously, Chris would be like, sure, I'll watch basketball for that.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Is there a chance they said Little Caesars Arena and he just thought it was like this giant pizza palace?
Right, correct.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Actually, that would have been a great name for if they kept the Auburn at the Palace at Auburn Hills. They could have had the Little Caesars Pizza Palace
That
at
would have
Auburn
been
Hills.
excellent, Zacho. You are brilliant.
Damn.
That would have been great because a pizza palace sounds amazing.
The malice
Yeah,
at the
it does.
pizza palace.
Yeah, that's got to that sounds excellent.
That's probably been like a birthday fight or something
Oh,
at some
yeah.
point
Yeah,
over the
yeah.
years.
Like, Sauce, can you imagine going, hey, let's go to the Strip for a couple days. What do you want to do? You want to go gambling? You want to go to see a show? No, I'm going to go to a math convention.
Right.
You'd say, what?
Right.
What?
Hey, you want to go to a convention where everybody has small heads?
Right.
No, I don't want to do that.
No, that's the last thing I want to do.
You want to go to the Grand Canyon or the Hoover Dam? Absolutely not.
Right.
No, I don't want to do
Right.
that.
You want to watch a replay of Lions Vikings?
No. Ugh. It's over.
No. Oh, man.
Can I run through
What a
these?
letdown.
Let me just run through these playoff teams quickly as we transition into the playoffs. The 7 teams that are in the NFC playoffs. The Green Bay Packers, they beat twice. They can beat again because it would be here. They can definitely beat the Washington Commanders. That would be a game here. They can definitely and will beat the Rams. They can beat Tampa. I know they just lost twice to the Lions, but I don't know about the top 2 teams, but I think the 7th seed, the 6th seed, and the 5th seed will all win this weekend. I think the Packers go into Philly and win, and I think Washington beats Tampa. Yeah, Tampa barely beat the Saints. I don't know, man.
I'm with you on Washington and Tampa.
Yeah,
I don't know about Green Bay.
I think the Vikings. I think two of the top 3 seeds are all top. The low. I don't know what I'm saying.
I agree.
I think 5, 6, and 7. I would bet 2 of the 3 win. It's such a weird playoff.
Yeah, it is weird how one game, though, in the NFL just changes everybody's perception because now it is such a, what have you done for me lately vibe.
Right.
So, man, that was just such a bad performance last night all around.
Yeah, but it's over,
Sorry.
right? Like,
Yeah,
I
I hope it's
know
over.
it's
I hope
tough.
it was a
but
fluke.
but they got to move on. They have it's a little bit different than like the regular season where it's like, that sucked. Maybe there's a little hangover. They have to move on. This is a move forward situation. It's a completely different season. We saw them early on, and I know it was against 3 bad teams, but they can win 3 road games. And maybe something goes the right way, and maybe they get to play a home game. Who knows? They're 14-3, man. They didn't back in like these other teams.
No. They had an opportunity.
Right.
They could have. They could have won.
Right.
Yesterday, if they punched those into the end zone.
Right.
And I know it's woulda, shoulda, coulda, but like. I don't know. A lot of people were, of course, fan line was crazy as you would expect, but like, people going after KOC, it's like,
KOC did everything he could.
Yeah, like,
KOC didn't
he can't go out there and throw the ball himself.
Correct.
What percentage of the loss do you pin on Darnold? Because I put almost all of it.
Well,
I just think he was so off, he didn't give his team much of a chance.
Yeah.
I put a little bit of it on the O-line. I don't think the O-line played well. TJ Hawkinson didn't play well. I think for the first time, we saw Justin Jefferson get a little little mad and a little.
Yeah, because Darnold was sailing every pass.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple that Justin could have had that one in the back, even though that would have been a tough catch.
But he was thinking about his feet.
Probably. So that's a tough one. That's probably more on Justin than Sam. But there were some other ones that Sam just wasn't giving his receivers a chance when we had those. What, I don't know how many blanks and goals did they have?
Well,
about
Zach
10.
Brilliantly tweeted at one point it was 16 in goal, and probably 12 at least.
I don't know.
I believe it was 12.
Weren't
12.
they 0-12 in the? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 0 for 4 in the red zone, but I wonder how many of those were goal to go. If it's 12, that's pretty
0 for
telling.
12 from goal to go.
Yeah, that's hideous.
They showed them all on ESPN just now, and I think one of them had PAs calling it.
And Sam Darnold, they said he was off target on 50% of his throws.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're never going to win a game with your quarterback doing that.
That was the Sam that Charch tweeted about preseason.
Yep.
That was the Sam that thought that made Vegas think this was a 6.5 win team.
You are correct.
That was the
Well
Sam
said.
that we all thought was going to be a long ass season, and that with the schedule on paper before the season started, you were right, Sauce. It looked like, God, if we can get 2 wins out of the first 6, that would be kind of a minor
that'd be a
miracle.
win,
This is a gauntlet for the first 6 or 7 games. That was the Sam we all were worried about seeing. We almost haven't seen that Sam at all. We've seen the opposite all year long.
Which is why.
Where was this one?
Which is why you got to hopefully just flush this one down the drain and get that back. Figure out what the hell happened. How did we get that, Sam? Was it just the bright lights, the prime time again? And that's another thing to keep in mind here. What we've had 2 now. That was our third, or fourth, I guess, if you include the Monday Night Football game against Chicago. But third game in prime time on the road where we lost this year. All 3 primetime games that we were on the road, we lost this year. So, and they just happen to be in the 2 cities we're playing, both this week and last night. So, whoops.
Yeah. All right. Lieber in like 30 minutes. We'll do front page sports after this. The Vikings lost to the Lions 31-9. If you fell asleep when it was close, it got kind of out of control. Jahmyr Gibbs, just 4 touchdowns. That's right. 4. 3 on the ground, 1 in the air. Killed us in the first game, killed us in the second game. Even if they find a way to run into the Lions again in the NFC title game, I don't know what we're going to do about Gibbs, right? Hopefully Darnold will be better, but how do you stop Gibbs? This team really struggles to do anything with that dude. He's one of those guys, I can't believe he doesn't torch everybody.
Yeah.
How does he not do that every week? He's so freaking dynamic.
He's very good. And people laughed at them when they took him that high.
He has the most touchdowns in the league this season, doesn't he?
And they have 19 or more. Doesn't he have like 29 total or something like that?
Who knows?
I think they said last night after the 4 that he has the most in the NFL this
I think
season.
you are correct.
Front page sports. Next, Power Tree Morning Show fan.
The Fan.
Time now for Front Page Sports, presented by Holiday Station Stores.
Holiday Station Stores, buy 2, get 1 free. Monster Energy at Holiday. I love Holiday. You guys know you could do that. Buy 2, get 1 free. Limited time. Mix and match any flavors you want. 16-ounce Monsters. It sure does, Paul.
Love Holiday.
Any flavor?
Any flavor you want. A 16-ounce Monster Max. Any flavor you want.
Hell yeah, man.
Dreams really do come true.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, do you feel different now that you're 30? Who feels more different, Zach at 30 or Sauce as a dad?
Man, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably the whole adding human life to my resume that's probably going to be Sauce is going to.
I think that's
the most
slightly a bigger game changer. Do you feel any different this morning, though? Now you're 30 years old. You're no longer like a kid, you know?
You're an old man, Zach.
Yeah, you're an old man.
It sucks.
It's all downhill.
Man.
You're in the trenches, baby.
It's over for you, Zach.
It's great. Better than the alternative, all that, but
Which
also.
is what? Death?
Getting
death.
younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I don't know. I'm technically not 30 yet. I was born.
Oh, God. You're doing the what time of day you were born bit. You're 30.
Yeah, you're 30.
303, baby.
If you died right now, your birth certificate, or your death certificate would say 30.
I forgot actually where's 303 area.
On that, yeah.
Isn't that Detroit?
Oh, Denver. That's why. That's right. 303. The band, My First Kiss. Great stuff. Terrible
That
band.
sounds
actually.
terrible.
It was a terrible time in music.
Hey, does Ludacris have Hoes in the 303?
Of course he does.
God, what a great song.
The Vikings lost to the Lions 31-9. Sam Darnold just went out there and put up basically his worst game all year. 18 of 41. Yuck. For 166 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. A 55.5 passing rating.
Yeah, not good. Picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. Picked the wrong day to have his worst performance of the season. But they can rebound. This is they're going to have to rebound. They flush this thing. They'll move on. We'll talk to Grenard tomorrow, who had an amazing. He played really well,
especially in the first half.
He's so good, man. And they can beat the Rams. They can beat the 10-7 Rams, who I think I wrote red. Hold on, time out here. Hang on. That they have. Hold on, it's right here. Give me a second. One of us gone too soon. The last competitive games we saw the Rams play were 12, 19, and 13-point outings against non-elite defenses. The Rams will be one and done. The Vikings will win a week from today.
That is exactly the correct statement, Paul, because 1 week from today is the game. They are the Monday night game, wild card weekend. They are at the LA Rams, the 4-5 matchup. The Vikings are technically the 5th seed because they are the top wild card. So at Rams next Monday night at 7 o'clock, right here on The Fan, your home for Minnesota Vikings football. The Vikings were 3 of 13 on third down, 0 for 3 on fourth down, and 0 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, hideous. Hideous. But as I said, maybe it's the new me. Maybe it's the dad that I am now. But we move on. We move forward. That sucked. But pick yourself up and we'll move forward. This team won 14 games. This isn't a fluke team. This isn't a team that backed into the playoffs. This is a team that had won 9 straight. They won 9 of 10. It's just that one loss was yesterday. They can win. The LA is the most overrated team in this tournament.
8 hours ago, you tweeted, Minnesota sports are the armpit of the world. The Vikings will never win a championship. This is an all-time flop. Everyone on the team should be embarrassed. Total system failure. Effing garbage. And then you posted a picture of a dumpster fire.
Yeah, well, that was 8 hours ago. It's the new me. We're moving forward. That was yesterday. I was pissed.
Hey,
I'm not.
So I was reading all your tweets because you do tweet a lot.
I do.
8 hours ago, you said, pull the starters and prepare for LA. I asked that question all last week and even said, I don't think that's going to happen because I think the game's going to be more competitive. Well, it did happen. With 6 minutes to go, Sam Darnold and company had no business being in that game.
0.
The game's over.
It's over.
The game's over. You got nothing.
No.
Well, can you imagine in the last 6 minutes if Addison or Darnold or Jefferson, if somebody rolls an ankle, you'd go, dude, this was not a 1 possession or even 2 possession game. This game is over. It's 31-9. Get everybody off the field.
Yeah.
I thought that was gambling, but
yeah.
No, maybe the logic is there's only 5 or 6 minutes left. If it was 31-9 early fourth, maybe say, all right, this game's over. Let's get him out. I don't know what the logic is. I thought I just didn't understand keeping him in there when the game was clearly over.
I don't either.
Jordan Addison's dad, I think, hates everybody. On Twitter, Jordan Addison's dad said, quote, 6 targets, 1 reception, 0 yards. I want push-ups the plane ride back nonstop. The defense needs to do them with you for allowing Gibbs to get 4 touchdowns. Also, KOC can do them with you because he got out-coached.
Wow.
Yikes.
You know, like if that's a random Rube or one of us, no big deal. You can say, maybe KOC got out-coached, right? Not great, giving up 4 touchdowns to 1 player. That's not good. Clearly, Jordan Addison's line last night, not solid, right? A lot of that has to do with Darnold. But, man, when you're a family member of a player, geez, I'm sure the Vikings coaching staff and front office is like, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Did this guy just shut up?
Yeah, that's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And you want your dad to shut up too, right? Dad, what are you doing?
Right.
Now everybody in the building thinks you and I are douchebags. Shut up.
Yeah. It's like all the time when I see my Uncle Peter hitting on bots on the internet. I'm like, Peter, that's not a real woman. Stop telling him you'll meet him in Wayzata. That's a fake. That Greg 6485555 is not a busty brunette from Wayzata. Stop replying to those people. But he still does it.
I think the Greg part was probably the tip-off.
Oh, I'll show you. I got a few screenshots. It was maybe my favorite part of the last week taking off is texting with his daughter about it.
About how
all the time
thinks that bots are real.
Or like it's a
do you want to go grab a drink?
It's a blatant AI picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, hey, I'm new here. Anybody want to chat? And immediately, yes. It's like, it's a bot. That's not a real person, Peter. So, yeah, that's where my frustration is going to go today.
Yeah, Jordan's going to tell his dad what his dad should have told him a long time ago.
Uh-oh.
Slow down.
Brilliant, Zacho. Well played. That's funny.
Well, I'm sorry. Actually, I shouldn't say that because it's a dog. His poor dog.
Yeah.
No, come on, Rolando.
Yeah,
I like that name, though.
Yeah, Orlando's a sweet
Orlando? Is that what it is? Okay.
I mean, right? I am so perfect for you, he says. Show those two. He responded with, I am so perfect for you.
So perfect for you.
That's pretty good.
Hot.
Man, that's confidence.
Like, come on, dog. That's clearly not a real. I'm so perfect for you might be the most indirectly horny thing anyone's ever said.
9 years old.
What are you doing, Pete Sauce?
I have 9 years old.
I am 9 years old. I'm so perfect for you. I'm going to start saying that.
I am so perfect for you.
Not just perfect, I'm so perfect for you.
Like, come on, man. Who do you think you are? You are not perfect for her. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't,
but it's not a real person.
Even if it was.
Old people in the internet are fascinating. There should be a half-hour show on Fox or CBS that they just like America's Funniest Home Videos where they just go through what old people do on the internet. It would be a laugh a minute. Sorry.
Hey, so let me ask you fellas this hypothetical. There are 14 teams left that could win the Super Bowl, correct? 14.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
Teams that are in the postseason that have never won a Super Bowl. The Lions, the Texans, the Chargers, the Bills, and the Vikings.
Wow.
5 of the 14 have never won a Super Bowl.
Trying to figure out.
What side of the bet would you be on, and how many, what kind of odds would you have to get to take that group of 5? Lions and Bills and Vikings are 3 of the best 6 teams in the league.
I mean,
and they've never won a Super Bowl. Then you get to throw in the Chargers and the Texans as well.
If it was the core versus 4 bit, I might just take the Lions and the Bills. The Bills can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would you take the 5 teams that have never won a Super Bowl, or the other 9?
I'll take the 5. Would you take the bet?
Well, I don't think the Chargers are going to do it. I don't think the Texans are going to do it. I don't think the Vikings are going to do it. The Bills, maybe. It's the Lions are so good.
I get the 2.
But I would get the Chiefs. I'd get the Ravens. I'd get the Eagles. Man.
Let's do it. We haven't gambled in a while.
I don't feel like doing it.
Oh, what?
Why? I don't want to bet against the Vikings.
There's Corey saying no again.
See how easy that was? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's not that crazy of a bet, though, because the Lions right now are the favorites, are they not? I believe they still are.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So
the Lions are the favorite.
You're getting the betting favorite in that group. But as I've been saying for like 3 months, even though they haven't looked that great, even though he isn't a Pro Bowler, you're still trying to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs from three-peating.
Yeah.
And they played 16 games at full speed, and they went 15-1. No, they got absolutely trucked yesterday, but who cares? They sat everybody. So they won 15 out of the 16 games that they tried to win. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I still think they're going to be a huge factor.
That's three huges.
Man, that was three huges. When the Vikings took on the Rams a couple of months ago, the Rams won 30-20.
Yeah.
That was Puka Nakua's first game back from injury.
Of course it was.
7 catches, 106 yards.
Yeah.
And Matt Stafford threw 4 touchdowns and 279 yards.
Brilliant response there. On Twitter, brilliant. Yeah. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I'm telling you, I know yesterday I said the team that loses this game is going to be one and done, but I've changed my tune.
You did say that.
I think they find a way to win. I really do. The Rams of all the... you'd rather go to L.A. than Tampa, right?
8 hours ago, you tweeted, the season will be over 8 days from today.
That was 8 hours ago. And then you responded with, I'm so perfect for you.
9 hours ago, you tweeted, awful. Minnesota sports always piss down their leg.
Yes, but that was 9 hours ago. I moved on. We're moving forward.
9 hours ago, you tweeted, at John Kriesel would have kicked it better.
Well, he might have. That was hideous.
Was that the Will Reichard right before halftime shank?
That's just inexcusable.
He didn't even hit a cheerleader. Like, how dumb.
No. You know how bad it is? My 86-year-old dad called me.
Oh, ask you about the scuttlebutt?
And he quickly, it technically wasn't even halftime, right? He called me as soon as Reichard shanked it, and he went full-blown dad sports rant.
The best.
And he gave me this. This is the old 86-year-old wisdom. And he's not wrong. It's just so funny that he's so passionate about it. He goes, it's not in the snow, in the rain, in the wind, outdoors. He goes, this is off of a tee indoors.
Yeah, he's right.
He's like, inexcusable. And I go, I know. How does he do that? I go, I don't know.
Yeah. Dad rant.
Corey, it's indoors. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I know, Dad. I was listening to the dude's
story.
He goes,
it's got to be 1,000 out of 1,000. I go, I know.
Yeah.
How does he do that?
Is your dad morphing into Royce?
Really?
That's pretty good. He just he's not wrong though. It's not the snap's not bad, the hold isn't bad. No. This is off of a tee indoors, and man, that camera angle didn't make it look any better.
Hideous.
As soon as it went off his foot, you're like, what the hell is that?
What is this?
Jesus, that's how I hit at Topgolf.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Just shankopotamus. Where is that going? Man, Reichard has not been the same since he's been back. I wonder if something's going on. That dude was a cyborg before he got injured.
I think he's still hurt.
Ben Lieber is in the building. He'll be here shortly. Muss will be here later. The Vikings crapped the bed last night, but they square off 1 week from tonight against the LA Rams. Wild card weekend. The Rams are the 4 seed. The Vikes fall all the way to the 5 seed with the loss to Detroit. 4-5 next Monday night right here on The Fan. Power Trip Morning Show back after this.
The Fan.
The Power Hour goes live at 8 a.m. It's all thanks to Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. You can watch it at KFAN.com/watch. We had Fan Line on there last night, and we did pretty well. A lot of great comments and stuff.
A lot of people were loaded up in the queue, I saw.
15 plus.
Woo-wee.
That's with a K. So. Anyway.
What happened?
How late did Fan Line go?
It was like 12:35.
Yeah.
12:40.
I sat in my bed on my phone and watched it and waited for it to end. And then I hit the end stream button.
How many callers or commenters last night, or what are those things called again? Talkbacks.
Yeah.
How many of those people had completely jumped off the Darnold bandwagon?
I bet almost all of them.
A lot.
Yeah.
I had to start turning people away on the phone because
like,
so
we
many.
get it?
Yeah, it's like there's so many people lined up to talk about Darnold that it's like, do you have anything else to say? It was a lot. As we all know, there's been a lot of vultures waiting around for Sam Darnold to have this kind of game, just so they could go on their little supposed victory lap. But it's just one game, man.
Yeah.
It was bad.
What?
I mean,
It was
a lot
really
of it
bad.
falls on him from last night. But man, if that had been every other game all season long, I think all of us would say, Jesus, when is this over?
Right.
Get JJ McCarthy in a freaking game next year.
Amen.
Let's go. But
Zach, deep
this is
breath.
such an anomaly this year.
Never a doubt.
Ben Lieber joins the Power Trip Morning Show on Mondays and Thursdays, even when he flies straight from Detroit and gets about 6 minutes of sleep. Jeez. Dude, where'd you sleep? In the green room?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I slept in the performance studio.
Is there a couch or something? What do you got
Yeah,
over
that
there?
little love seat.
Oh, man.
It was awful.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. I feel like, I sort of feel like I got hit by a truck.
Yep. And you still have a full day? You have Twin Cities Live today?
Yeah, I'm going to do my morning meeting and then just probably shut her down and sleep for a couple hours.
Yep.
In the break room again?
Relax. Relax. Take a deep breath.
Calm down.
Tommy, take a deep breath.
JJ McCarthy's not starting.
Yeah.
Ben's not sleeping in the building.
You wake up, Zach.
That's a good call, Zach. Maybe I will do that. I won't even go home. I'll just sleep here at the office again.
Well, there's no meetings going on in there, so go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to sleep in the bullpen, that should be nice and quiet for you.
Where's the bullpen? Is that the bullpen?
Just the salespeople's cubes.
Well, that's the cubes.
It's the
Yeah.
old bullpen. Oh, Ben. Man, what a stinker.
Oh, God, you guys. I haven't heard a lick of what you guys have said, but I'm sure
It was
can
all
guess.
awesome.
Yeah.
I thought we did great.
It wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't. The thing is, I was fine kicking, not necessarily kicking field goals, but I was fine with the score, I should say, for, a large part of the game. I'm like, our defense was playing great, shutting the number one ranked offense down. And, we haven't seen this version of our offense all season long. So my faith in our offense was still pretty high. And I'm like, oh, we'll figure it out. And Sam will settle in, right? Like we'll get this thing figured out, and we'll get a touchdown on the board or two, and then we can just kind of roll, and then hopefully we can make them a little one dimensional. And that did not happen.
No.
At all.
No.
You played football. Do quarterbacks ever truly walk into a stadium and then just not have it in terms of accuracy, in terms of confidence? Because it just never looked like he had it from the get-go. And we talked about it 45 minutes ago, and it sounds like you were sleeping, and I can't blame you. The one that everybody's jumping on is third quarter, but I think it's the most telling one of the entire night is where that organic pick play with Addison right at the goal line, clearly designed for him. Sam's looking right at him, and he doesn't pull the trigger. It was gun shy or something. What is he waiting for? That's the call. That's the route. Addison's open. Doesn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
What is he doing? He just didn't have it.
So I sat down with Hawkinson at the end of the game, and he's great, right? I mean, he gives really insightful answers. And I asked him, I was like, what was going on in there, with the game plan? Like they basically ran, it seems like everything that you guys thought they were going to run. They're a pretty high man coverage team. They'll blitz some, but maybe not blitzing as much as they have all season long. But you expected blitz in certain situations. Why did it seem like they threw us off? He goes, well, especially in the red zone, they ran more cover 3 than we were expecting. Now, cover 3 is just a version of zone defense, right? I mean, it looks like single high man. That's the reason why it complements single high man, because you have a single high safety, just like the name implies. And instead of running man coverage across the board, it's a zone coverage where he's just a deep zone defender along with the 2 cornerbacks. So it does get confusing because, it's compressed area in the red zone. You can't really tell maybe if it's going to be zone or man. So to answer your question, maybe that play was designed perfectly against man. And when he realized that, oops, this is not a man, what they call a man beater. This is easy, Zach.
Whoa.
This now is cover 3. So maybe in that moment, he thought there'd be somebody where Addison was going to be. And he no longer could like predict exactly where the defenders were going to be, and he just didn't want to make a mistake.
So it's maybe seeing ghosts as well, because he is looking right at Addison, and he's open. But to your point is maybe he's just in his own head and overthinking it and seeing things that aren't there, or not seeing things that are obviously there, like a wide open Jordan Addison.
That's the thing. I think that he was so cognizant of not making a mistake in that area of the field. Obviously a costly mistake, not just like a bad read, but obviously thrown to the other team. That, I think that he wasn't trusting exactly what he was seeing, and maybe he wasn't trusting that our receivers weren't seeing what they were seeing, because you run certain routes differently if you feel zone versus man and vice versa. So not only does he miss that throw, he misses Justin, in the flat area corner of the end zone as well. He misses Hawkinson on a third down over the middle of the field early in the game. I mean, nobody's asking for perfection here, but we haven't seen this many indecisive throws and inaccurate throws all season long. It just so happens to be on the biggest game of the regular season.
Here's the unanswerable butterfly effect question that why even throw it out and ask you, because there's no way anybody can know. But man, what a game changer if that Goff incompletion is called a safety, which it should have been.
100%.
Yeah,
if that's a safety and it's 7-2, and then they have to punt. No, you could say, well, the Vikings picked it off pretty soon after that, and okay, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, what a momentum change if it's 7-2 and they got to punt it to us, and now we have a short field and we're freaking them out. And hopefully Jared Goff starts seeing ghosts. That changes the whole game. But man, I still don't understand how they missed that. And Ben, I think one thing that the old competition committee needs to think about moving forward: every scoring play in the NFL is reviewable, right? Mm-hmm. Well, non-calls on scoring plays should be reviewable, right? Like the idea that they're all getting together, so they're talking about, like, is this a safety? Well, then by definition, we are debating whether or not this is a score. They have to find a way to reword that, because that is a potential 2 points on the board if they get this right. How is that not reviewable?
Hello.
He hit an offensive lineman, and there was no receiver anywhere close, and they just 89 or whatever, it was in the area. Where?
No, he
not
wasn't.
even close. How is that not reviewable? That drives me nuts. Paul, your hands up.
This is a question for you, Ben, and I know you probably got 10 minutes of sleep, but isn't there a rule where isn't that like an illegal touch by an offensive lineman as well?
Yes. When the
offensive lineman can't be the first people to touch the ball.
Correct.
That's all.
There's so much wrong with that non-call. And Corey, I'll go back to the wasn't it the Rams game that we had the face mask in the end zone?
Yeah.
And that was deemed a safety, right?
Yeah, and we did exactly, and they didn't call the face mask.
Correct. So
huge.
That was my argument at that time, that was actually a scoring play that should have been reviewed.
Right.
Now, this was a non-scoring play, but could have led to a score. So I'm with you 1,000%. Like, these plays that happen in the end zone is the scoring area of the field. If there are penalties or non-penalties or calls or non-calls that happen in that area that could result in either points on the board or not points on the board, that should be reviewed.
Agreed.
I think moving forward, I got to think face masks in the next year or 2 or 3 is going to be one of those things that's just an automatic review as well. Somehow, some way, there's going to be some system where it's like, if there's a face mask, the officials get alerted and they say, all right, hang on. What is that called? Replay assist, right? Somebody's going to have to say replay assist. Sam Darnold got his face mask ripped off.
Correct.
You missed it.
And that's what it should have been last night.
Yeah.
Like replay assist could have said,
no, that was an offensive lineman.
Right.
2
There's
points.
nobody in the area.
Right. When the officials say 89 was in the area, how did they not have somebody say, well, no, they were nowhere near.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, well, then if that's the case, then that's a safety.
Right.
Yeah, safety.
Right.
7-2, let's keep playing.
Yeah, let's get the ball back.
In KOC's post-game presser, did somebody ask if he got clarification from the refs?
I do not know the answer to that question.
I mean, that is something that is going to have to be asked today. Is like, what was KOC told?
My guess is it's what they announced. Is when you it didn't even say they didn't even say like there was a receiver in the area. Didn't they specifically say number 89?
89.
They specifically said a number.
Which I think if KOC had been losing his mind and say what is the deal, I think they would have said 89 was right there. And they would have been wrong, but I think that's the explanation he would have gotten.
An NBC rules analyst guy even said like he was not. It has to be in that direction, and it wasn't even in the direction.
Yeah, was that Terry McCauley or whatever?
Yes,
he flat out said that should have been a safety.
Right? Is it Zeitler? He threw it right at Zeitler.
Live, watching it live. Right. How do you blow that call that badly, even live? Like that was inexcusable. And can I just address one thing really quick?
You sure can. Happy birthday,
this triggers me.
Happy birthday.
This is one of my triggers. We're talking about a poor officiating call, a potentially very consequential one early on, as you mentioned, that could have changed the play. That's not excusing Sam Darnold or the poor play or whatever, but I hate the fact that every time I tweet about a bad call, there's like 5 or 6. Well, Darnold is just like that's two separate things. And we should expect better from the officials, just like we should expect better from Darnold. But
yeah,
they didn't lose because of it.
No.
I'm just tired of every week there's some ridiculous, terrible call, and it's across all sports now. Whatever.
It's a hell of a birthday rant.
Yeah, that's
thank you for giving me my
happy birthday.
By the way, Max can back me up on this. Zach is ordering food from a gas station in Toledo, right, Max?
That is true. We've been ogling the menu at this gas station for multiple breaks now.
He might go to Toledo just to go to this gas station.
Toledo, Ohio.
Yes. It's called Sheetz. Dwight's favorite place.
Sheetz, like the gas station? The
SHEETS or Z?
Z.
Yeah.
Gotta go Z.
Those things are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing.
He's going there just to get a mozzarella chicken sandwich.
Well, no, I've decided to go with crispy chicken wrap.
Oh. Yo.
Shredded cheese.
Yeah. How far is the drive to Toledo, Ohio?
It's 10 hours and 41 minutes.
He was looking up if the mega bus went there just to go to Sheetz.
If we go to toll route, Max, it's only 9 hours and 51.
Oh, that's light work right there.
Yeah.
We can make that.
I got some quarters. And it's in Illinois.
Yeah, you should go.
Oh, man.
The
Bulls?
No, the ooey.
Oh, yeah.
The sticky
That's even better.
They actually have opened dispensaries in the last 17 years.
Well played. Wasn't this supposed to happen now? It's 2025.
Yeah, they're just taking their time over there at the Minnesota Office of Cannabis. The OOC.
Minnesota
How bizarre.
Office of Cannabis.
Actually, what is it called? Just Office. Oh, Office of Cannabis Management.
Oh, God! It should be. It should be office. What?
Nailed it.
Officer of Management of Cannabis. So you could call it OMC. Tommy likes that joke.
Before we go to break, quickly, let's do wild news presented by Catalyst Supply and CatalystSupplyCo.com. Thanks, Catalyst. You can boost your build if you're a contractor out there. Make sure you're a Catalyst company.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Wild have won 3 straight games and have won 5 out of 6. They won 5-3 against Nashville. Then at Washington on Thursday, they won 4-3 in a shootout. And then Saturday, they won at Carolina 4-rip. They host the St. Louis Blues of Anaheim tomorrow at 7 o'clock. 3 straight wins, though, for the Minnesota Wild, Zachary.
Listed as 8. I hope that's not. Maybe it thinks I'm in Ohio. Anyway, I just hope it's on 8 o'clock.
It's 7.
Just go to Ohio.
But it is a very a crazy game the other night. Again, they just
thanks OAR.
Every time you want to count them out, man. But I feel like that people have talked about like how Minnesota sports teams, like if one's good, the other ones have to be awful. It just feels like even in like real time, the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves are just like
constantly trading off the energy.
The Wolves started surging when the Wild started to fall, and now the Wild are surging and can't have all your everything at once, right? Your cake and eat it too.
You can. It's your birthday.
I am, and I did eat that cake. By the way, it was very good.
One of the best
I
cakes
did
of all
take
time.
myself off the top, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did you see his cake, Benjamin?
I have not.
Oh,
Well,
dude.
I need to check it out.
Check his social media
brilliant.
from Friday. One of the all-time coolest cakes. More with Ben Lieber. This is the home of the Minnesota Vikings. The Power Trip Morning Show and The Fan.
The Fan.
All right, let's do what really matters. Scores and stats around the world of sports. Sauce, you're going to change their life with something else. I'll do sports stuff. You know?
Sweet, man.
All right, Benjamin, let's just stay with the A topic for a sec. The Vikes lose to the Lions 31-9. The Vikings get the 5 seed. The Lions get everything else. They win the NFC North. They get the number 1 seed in the NFC. They get a bye next week for Wild Card Weekend. Meanwhile, the Vikings have to go to the Los Angeles Rams, the only other team besides the Lions that the Vikings have lost to, the Rams. 1 week from tonight, though, you get to go to L.A., and it's a Monday night game, 7 o'clock next week. How do you feel about the matchup now, a couple of months after losing to them?
I don't feel great about it, to be honest with you. Right now, I don't feel great about it. But, you know, we've got 6 days here, you know, basically a week for me to wrap my head around it, you know, watch their latest film, and obviously watch the game that we just played yesterday and just figure out, like, okay, you know, I'm guessing that there are a lot of fixable things, and they don't do some of the same things, if I can remember right. They don't do a lot of the same things on defense. So I don't think that we're going to run into the same sort of confusion issues. But listen, they're talented. They've earned their spot. They've obviously going to be a tough out at their place, but you know, we get them on a full week of rest and not just a shortened week after playing the Lions. So I do think things are going to be a lot different.
Saw said this earlier, but check this out. The last month, essentially, of Rams games, they won 12-6 over the Niners. So they scored 12. Then they won 19-9 over the Jets. 19 is nothing to brag about either. Then they won 13-9 over the Cardinals, and then they just lost 30-25 to Seattle.
Yeah,
so that's not
play their studs.
Right. The outlier there is the one then where they beat Buffalo 44-42 back in on December 8th. But otherwise, they've struggled to put up points against some pretty bad competition. Relatively bad, especially the Jets.
Yeah, I think that's the trap that nobody should fall for. I mean, we've seen what these guys are all capable of. Like, you have to assume in these situations that you're going to get everybody's best. So you got to look at when Stafford's playing his best, when the receivers are playing their best, when Kyron Williams is playing his best, and clearly defensively, you know, they've got some young studs up front defensively that we're going to have to pay attention to. So, like, you just have to assume that, all right, they're going to figure some stuff out. They're a lot of the bulk of their starters got a game off. They're going to get mentally right and physically healthy. So you just have to expect, what are we thinking when they're at their best? And they're a pretty damn good football team.
What really matters, though, is this.
Hold on here. What is, by feet, the deepest part of the ocean is approximately how many feet down?
Mariana's Trench is
30,000 feet.
40,000 feet.
Wow, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
50,000.
Yeah, I would guess it's essentially deeper than Everest is high, right? Wouldn't you think?
That's what I've heard.
Well, that's what I've heard. And isn't Everest like 29,000?
So yeah, then something in the 30s is probably a good guess. I'll go 37,000.
35.
Ooh, there we go.
The deepest part of the ocean is approximately 35,876 feet down.
How do they know that?
Counting.
Yeah, but like you can't even get stuff down there.
Probably what, sonar, right? Or some version of.
Well, I mean, how do they know what Pluto's made of? Right?
Good question.
They haven't been there.
Lucky guess.
Lucky guess, yeah.
Well, they had a probe. They sent a probe.
Buddy. Tommy didn't go there.
Speaking of that, my dad not only ranted about Will Reichard's shank, but he was telling me that they found some footprints in the mud I think he said in Saudi Arabia, but I don't remember the country now. Footprints in the mud that are something like 115,000 years old. And they're pretty sure it's Homo sapiens. That it's
come on,
dude. It's
2024.
It's a pretty good chance. And
come on, what are you on Rosie's podcast?
So he gives us a call.
By their footprints. Brilliant.
Dainty.
Just the toes.
And he's like, yeah, can you imagine
that guy
this?
walks lightly.
Tommy, put your feet down.
And he goes, that person had to survive for the rest of us to. And I go, I know, I get it. If that person lives or dies, the rest of us aren't here. It's just weird. The butterfly effect. We had that conversation.
Is your dad smoking a doobie?
No. We just like that kind of random
It's
science
great about
talk.
your dad. Your dad is so smart that he thinks about like smart topics. Like when I call my brother, it's mostly like ripping other people or like talking
Insane
about
Clown Posse conversations. Like
Your
when's a
dad's
new
like,
album out?
Think about it. I don't know. It's neat. I wish I was smart.
So he starts going down this, how insane is this and that and life and blah blah blah. And I tried to straight face him over the phone. And I go,
it's tough for you.
I go, man. That is incredible. I go, think about that. 115,000 years ago. I go, if we could travel back in time, and whether that's a man or a woman, just tell that person, don't bother cheering for the Vikings. You have no idea how long you're going to have to wait to see them in a Super Bowl. It's going to be like 115,000 years. And I dropped a dad joke on my dad. It felt really good. Because I also did it about 45 seconds later. I tried to make it sound like I was actually talking evolution with him and human existence, and then I just drop a lame-ass dad joke on him.
Comedic timing.
Oh, yeah.
I like
it was all about comedic timing.
And your family was like, keep it down there.
Well, honestly, that guy or gal who has the footprint in the mud from like 100,000 plus years ago, how many Super Bowl wins have they seen for the Vikings?
Zero.
Yeah,
it's over.
That was 100,000 years ago. Hasn't seen one Viking Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
So don't feel so bad if you're like, I'm 44. This is my own voice. I'm 44 and I've never seen a Viking Super Bowl victory. Yeah, neither that dude or gal.
I'm now
Not
in my
one.
30s, and I have not seen a Minnesota professional men's professional
Good point.
sports champion.
Because he didn't live through the Twins. It's even rougher for Zacho and Max.
And
though.
Max.
Yeah, I wasn't here either when the Twins were good.
We wish you were alive.
Yeah, did you see Ken Herbeck pointed that out to you last night?
What is his deal?
Yeah, that was weird.
I tried to find the meme of Princess Bride was like, I don't think it means what you think it means. Like, I don't think my tweet means what you think it means.
Right.
Like, I wasn't disparaging the Twins at all, Kent.
Whoa.
I was talking.
I couldn't tell his tone either. I couldn't tell if he was actually firing shots at you or just. I think he was just playfully poking at you.
I'm hoping
100%.
so.
Almost positive that he was just saying like, "Hey, at least you'd be a part of a winning organization." I think he was just poking back. It'd be hilarious.
I guess
if he
it was
wasn't.
more the replies of like, "Oh, ooh, you got roasted." I'm like,
Not
did
really.
I?
No.
Did I really?
Ben, on Saturday, we have a couple of games. AFC wildcard weekend starts Saturday at 3:30 with the Chargers at the Houston Texans. Chargers are about 3-point favorites on DraftKings, give or take. Your
Yeah, I
thoughts?
was going to say I would take the Chargers in that situation too. They just seem like the team that's a little hotter right now. And again, going back to what I said about the Rams, like you have to expect that the Texans are going to come out and like try to look their best. And if that's the case, then it is going to be quite the showdown. But they just haven't looked themselves. They just haven't looked, I think as powerful as we've seen them in the past, and the Chargers seem like they got something special going on.
Night game that night game on Saturday is the biggest spread of the weekend. The Ravens are 9.5-point favorites over the Steelers, who seem to be falling apart.
Yeah,
it's over for them.
Yeah, they are limping around.
Yeah.
What, 6 straight losses or something like that?
I think so. And what they can't put up points anymore.
Yeah, and it seems like they're slow. The tide has turned against Russell Wilson once again.
4 straight losses. Yeah.
What really matters is this.
This is something that I think Zacho will get close on the answer. The International Space Station orbits Earth approximately every blank minutes.
90.
You are correct. I knew he knew that.
Is that right? It goes around the world in every 90 seconds?
Minutes. 90 minutes.
Oh, 90 minutes.
That seems like it's going way too fast.
Right.
Nuts.
That still seems fast.
That's very, very, very fast. So wait a minute then. Can somebody figure out how fast that's moving?
Zacho,
do a Google search. If it's getting around in 90 minutes, that's flying.
4.76 miles per second.
Whoa.
So in the last second, it's traveled almost 5 miles.
That's fantastic math.
In that dead
it's
air
over.
there that we just had, they traveled 20 miles.
are you making this up?
Have they rescued those? Have they rescued the people?
No.
off of,
No, they're
is it-
still up there.
Are they stuck on that thing or something else?
No.
No.
Well, wherever they
Help
are,
me,
they're
step
going
astronaut.
5 miles a
Brilliant,
second.
Zach.
How are we going to catch them?
Zacho, you're very funny.
Oh, man. Well,
Zach,
yeah.
by the time I finish this long, drawn out, boring, time killing sentence, there's a pretty good chance the people that are on the International Space Station have already made it to Toledo, Ohio to get that mozzarella, whatever thing at Sheets. If we just keep talking, they'll be there before the sentence is over. Paul, your hands up.
Can I ask Ben a nerdy off-season football question?
Yeah, please do.
Sure.
Ben, if you had to, I don't need a name, obviously, but if you were in charge of the Minnesota Vikings, what position would you look for in the first round of the NFL draft?
Corner.
I thought that would be your answer.
Yeah.
That's probably the correct answer.
Yeah. We'll see, though. I mean, based on where the draft order is going to be, we'll see if there's something that makes sense.
I mean, regardless of how this season goes, which may be over 8 days from today, I tweeted that yesterday.
Just sad to think about.
Which is sad, but this is going to be an amazing offseason for everything. They have like $70 million in cap space. The quarterback dilemma may be over before we know it. It's going to be a great offseason. This is a great team. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that I think is popped up is amazing what one game will do now to the feeling about Sam Darnold being the long-term quarterback here. Because
you were right.
No, I'm not saying I was right. And
right.
Nothing's happened yet, but it's sad to think that a guy had one bad game off a spectacular year. And you're already hearing people saying, like, let him go. I'm like, wait, weren't you guys all just standing on the table saying that we have to sign this guy? And how dare you think about not signing this guy to a long-term contract?
Well, Sauce, where do you stand? A couple weeks ago, you said you can't let him walk.
I flip-flop a lot.
So, which way have you flopped?
I mean, I'm going to wait until next Tuesday.
Okay. So that was my point when I was first asked about this a couple weeks ago. Was like, what are we doing here? We're in a great place with our team. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. Why do we got to bring the mood down and talk about what this quote unquote controversy is going to be about what we're going to do with the quarterback? Like, let's just wait to see how everything finishes out. Because a lot of things can change with performance and whatever. And here we are with one bad game and people are already like flopping their tots the other direction.
Yeah, let's let the guy see if he can bounce back on Monday night against a mediocre Rams team.
Yeah.
Let's just see.
Zach wants Darnold to play so bad that they find a way to start J.J. McCarthy in the second half
He just
of that
wants him to
playoff
keep
game.
showing McCarthy during the game.
100%. Long flow. How about the
flow?
He's got the flow going, Zachary. He's got the long hair.
Salad is wonderful.
What about his hair?
Ben, you've been probably pretty close to J.J. now, right? Stood relatively close to him?
I got to be honest. I didn't even know he was on the trip because, inside baseball here, we had to take 2 planes because there was so many staff going to this trip. So I, of course, it makes a lot of sense given my position on the team. I was on the secondary backup plane where all the unwashed people were. And I never even knew that he was on the trip. And then I see him pregame like, hey, is that JJ? Rocking the knee sleeve and all this other stuff. I'm like, that's him with the flowing hair and the locks.
Looking like Sunshine from Remember the Titans or whatever the hell his name was.
He even sort of shocked me. So I'm like, I didn't even know that he was on the trip. I guess it makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Zach, I did think of you.
Vikings lose to the Lions 31-9 if you went to bed early. It didn't get much better. Jahmyr Gibbs, 4 touchdowns. A lot of Vikings conversation between now and 9 o'clock. More with Ben Lieber and the rest of the Power Trip Morning Show after this on The Fan.
The Fan.